What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. My name is Tonibryanne, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing the exploitation of daughters. This has been a video that has been on my mind for quite some time now. I have seen time and time again daughters, women, getting exploited in many different ways. And in this video, we're going to break it down one by one on how daughters are being exploited, whether that's on social media, whether it's by their celebrity parents, whether it's in their day-to-day life, or whether overall it is just by their families doing them plain wrong. But you guys know I like to start off every video with a little bit of positivity, so let's first start off with the quote of the day. Today's quote of the day is, "I am proud of my progress no matter how small." Today's verse of the day is John chapter 6 verse 51, and it reads, "I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. This bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world." The Toni Bryanne TV show is streaming on multiple different platforms, not just on here any longer. You can now listen to me on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, along with a long array of other podcast formats. Before we get into this very relatable video, let's start with something simple. Something that for a lot of us didn't come easy growing up: rest. And that's why I absolutely love today's sponsor. Thank you so much, Helix Sleep, for sponsoring this segment of today's video. I've been wanting to upgrade my bed situation without buying a whole new mattress, so when Helix reached out, it felt like the perfect timing. I chose the Helix Plus mattress topper. They have different options depending on how firm or soft you want your bed to feel, but I'm more of a soft sleeper through and through, so I definitely got their softer mattress topper. I absolutely love how this topper is made with high quality, breathable materials so it doesn't trap heat and I don't wake up sweating. I didn't want to replace my entire mattress because it's still good quality and it's free $99 because my parents got it for me. I just really needed that extra oomph of comfort. A mattress topper was the perfect solution, and honestly, it completely transformed my bed. Setting it up was super easy. It fits perfectly, stays in place, and instantly made my bed look way more plush and inviting, and it felt that way too. And y'all, when I jumped onto this bed after setting it up, heaven on earth. It's so soft but still supportive, and since switching to the Helix topper, I've been falling asleep faster and waking up feeling way more refreshed, and this is by far the truth. I really didn't realize how much of a difference a topper could make until now. Helix is running their spring savings event right now. You can now get 20% off site-wide. Just head to helixsleep.com/ToniBryanne or scan the QR code you see on your screen. Trust me, if you're looking to level up your sleep without buying a whole new mattress, this is the exact move you need to make. Thank you so much, Helix Sleep, for sponsoring this segment of today's video. Now let's get back into today's video.
Taking you in this moment.
There are so many daughters walking around in adult bodies feeling anxious, insecure, exhausted, and unsure on who they truly are. This isn't because they made quote-unquote bad choices. Instead, it's because from the moment they could speak, they were chosen by their parents as the helper, the motivator, the healer, the emotional punching bag, the placeholder parent, or this infinite golden child that could never make a mistake. So many young girls are raised not to thrive, but to serve. A lot of daughters are raised to be the exception, especially the first daughters. And with being the exception comes consequences when you're not upholding that part, though you're going through the growing pains and just trying to become a functional adult. You're not allowed to have any traits that take you away from being that exception. And a lot of daughters can see the opposite when it comes to their brothers, aka the sons. We have a lot of talking points to break down in terms of the exploitation of daughters, so let's first start off with number one. Daughters being the helper. Let me get comfortable so we can really lock into this video because I have a lot to say. Trust me. There's a very specific kind of tired that we joke about online when it comes to being a daughter that is now a woman. A lot of daughters, especially the eldest sibling, develops a very specific kind of fatigue when they grow from being a girl into an adult woman.
He hit Granny with the car, but my angel's learning to drive. Oh God, what a blessing. What a blessing he is to this world. And he put a fork in the dishwasher. I mean, what more can I ask for? You want to know what's for dinner? You lazy donkey. Who raised you? Who raised you to be such a lack of anything to this family? You're not pushing yourself.
We joke about this online. Specifically, we call it the oldest daughter syndrome, or eldest daughters or first daughters discussing being the built-in babysitter to their parents. But behind these jokes and a little bit of banter is a very deep generational trauma that a lot of girls have to take in as they go into their adulthood.
When I tell you being the eldest daughter builds character, It is not for the weak. Having to be the strong one, having to put other people's emotions before yourself, having to hide your pain, learning that love actually means taking care of other people before you actually take care of yourself, and not knowing how to set boundaries, which cause you to become a people pleaser. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, it's because we've always been doing this, it feels very normal. But deep down, we have never realized the amount of emotional weight that we've been carrying from childhood until now. You're the one who holds it together when it feels like everything is falling apart. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Being the helper, the caretaker, the responsible one. It might sound noble and grand to have that title, but a lot of people do not realize that a lot of these girls did not expect or ask for this role in the first place. Parentification is the term that we're going to be discussing right now. Parentification is when children, often daughters, are forced into adult responsibilities far too early. And it's not always physical labor. Sometimes it's emotional labor, it's financial labor, or it's just the overall pressure of always having to have it all together.
This is the oldest daughter core. They are the parentified child. They think that they have to fix everything and everyone around them, so they're like in charge. Like they do their best to manage everybody's anxiety, make sure everybody's feeling okay. They're like almost hypersensitive, but they all almost like put their anxiety away and their feelings away. And although she's like really burnt out, tired, and exhausted emotionally, mentally, and physically, she habitually conceals all those emotions because she will just think that it's insignificant. Oh, and she's probably secretly depressed. And by the time she brings up like an issue or something that she went through, it's already taken care of. It's already in the past tense. It's already done. And I don't know why they do that.
A lot of the times we see parentification in families that have a lot of children. Once you get past 4 children, I feel as if you as a parent cannot fully, now please get what I'm saying, fully meet the emotional needs of each individual child. So you make your eldest children pick upon that slacking. And 9 out of 10 times, that eldest child is typically the daughter.
The older ones must be trained,
because the older ones take care of the younger ones.
In my family, usually like the older kids help take care of the younger kids. We had buddy pairs and I had like a buddy team.
There's a lot of parentification in the Quiverful movement. Just the sheer number of children, it is impossible to parent all of them. And they usually have the older children, the daughters, take care of the younger kids.
And why exactly is this? I mean, we romanticize maturity in girls like crazy. We say young girls are so independent, so poised, so helpful, wise beyond their years. And all of this is said as a compliment, as if it was a choice of a 6-year-old. These young ladies are not choosing to be independent and mature. A lot of the times they become this way because they're often neglected. So they have nothing to compensate for but to become mature. This kind of independence comes from making your dinner plate at 8 years old. This kind of independence comes from you hearing your mother cry herself to sleep because she doesn't know how the bills are going to get paid the next month. This is the kind of maturity that comes from you hearing your mother and father fighting all the time and you trying to protect your younger siblings. This kind of helpfulness and maturity is not optional. And not only that, it's very much so gendered. Because while little boys are praised for being just boys and being goofy and athletic and silly, little girls are praised for being calm, smart, useful. Boys get to just be kids, whereas girls don't have that for a long period of time. And that's because girls are asked to do dishes, help their younger siblings with homework, look after their siblings, cook dinner, yet still come home with perfect grades, maintain a good attitude, and be the perfect daughter that so many envisioned them to become.
I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I co-raise my siblings, but my parents don't recognize it. I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I'm type A perfectionist with a 5 a.m. morning routine. I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I got in trouble for anything my siblings did, because we're a unit, not an individual. I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I'm a chronic people pleaser. Count me in. I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I became a chauffeur to my siblings when I got my license. Who else was gonna drive them? I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I'm the mom in my friend group. Hey, are you okay? I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I carried Mother's Day on my back. Who else was giving mom the perfect gift? I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I'm the family therapist. Who else will they talk to? I'm the eldest daughter. Of course I'm an overachiever who doesn't feel like I'm doing enough.
Boys are allowed to act up and make mistakes. Girls aren't allowed that same privilege. By the time a lot of girls are 12 or 13, they're treated like adults, when we all know for a fact 12-year-olds are not adults. However, them being treated as adults doesn't come intact with them being treated with the same freedom that their brothers are often treated with. Your brother that has decent or failing grades, plays on their video game all day, gets in trouble at school, and is disrespectful, gets to go out and do whatever the heck they want. But the daughter, she can't even go out with friends because she has too many chores at home, or it's just too dangerous, and the parents trying to protect her. It is exhausting. Daughters are doing all the things that should give them freedom, but they're not receiving that freedom, whereas their brothers are doing everything that should not grant them freedom, but they are getting that freedom. However, when daughters speak up about these injustices that they receive among their own household, they are told to get over it and stop being dramatic, or just be grateful that you have a family. Oh, and the worst thing, when their parents like to tell them that they had it 10 times worse. This isn't about just helping out your family. This is about the help being expected, but not just expected. The help happening without any thanks, without any breaks, without any boundaries, without any praises. And it leads you to see that this wasn't about maturity, it's about survival, and girls act accordingly so they don't get in trouble. Girls don't just grow up fast, they were pushed to grow up fast. We're gonna delve deeper into sons versus daughters in just a second, but let's get into my next talking point. Daughters being raised to become their mothers. So this is another form of exploitation of daughters. These are the daughters that are raised to fulfill their mother's neglected dreams. It's when mothers are shaping their daughter in every which way that they saw themselves to be, when their daughter doesn't truly want that same thing that their mother once wanted. A prime example of this would have to be with the show Toddlers and Tiaras on TLC. A lot of the times you hear the mothers say things like, oh, I'm putting my daughter in pageants because I always wanted to be in pageants, or I was a pageant queen, or I didn't win this title and I know that she can win this title.
I have never competed in pageants before, but I really enjoy Paisley competing just because it is actually my hobby. Don't know if she would do it if it was her choice, but at this age, she seems to enjoy it. Okay, we'll take it off.
And then you see the contrary of their children fighting and screaming and clearly not wanting what their mother wants, which is be in pageants. Maybe little Sophie wants to play soccer. Maybe little Sophie wants to be in gymnastics. But no, she's in these pageants because mommy was in pageants and mommy wants Sophie to be in pageants.
Do you want to try on your pink crayon?
No, on a lollipop.
Okay, well, we'll get a lollipop in just a little bit.
I want one.
Okay, we'll get one in just a little bit.
A lot of people may consider this a healing moment for the mother, but it is more so traumatic for the daughter. These young girls are raised to heal or to compromise the failures that their mother once had. Be prettier, thinner, more accomplished, more obedient, more everything than their mother once was. And once again, like I said, this can be seen as nurturing, like, oh, this mother isn't competing with her daughter. She wants her daughter to win, and not just win, but win more than she ever did. But it definitely can be seen as projection, possession, and performance, and that is the furthest thing from being nurturing. It's shaping your daughter into everything that you wish you once were, but you never were. In a lot of cases, you can think, well, this is a good thing because, you know, there are mothers out there that hate their daughters and are competing with their daughters. But the truth is that it is problematic because the daughter was never raised to be her own person, and that is a lot more damaging than you think. Instead, you were raised to be your mother's proof, her ego booster, her unfinished business finally done right. And what's really devastating is that a lot of these young girls are raised through their entire childhood trying to amount to what their mother wants them to be, and they fear that if they choose another path, their mother won't accept them. So a lot of the times they end up just becoming this entire character that isn't truly them to make their mom happy and suppress their real feelings.
Usually daughters of narcissistic mothers tend to be enmeshed out of desperation of getting their childhood their childhood needs met from their mother. And this actually keeps them trapped from becoming their own person, having a sense of identity. And there are daughters who choose to just remove themselves from the family, go no contact, and just work really hard on not becoming their mothers. But they still need to do the de-individuation work. Essentially, it requires emotional maturity and just conscious effort. The reason why individuation doesn't tend to happen with daughters and their narcissistic mothers is because as teenagers, they are so caught up in trying to prove their worth to their mothers, or are forced or modeled into being somebody that they don't want to be because of their mother. They're not able to create a separate identity from their mother. Because of this, daughters are emotionally stunted. This can play out in two ways, ignoring or engulfing. So if the daughter is ignored, she's not praised, she's not validated, she's just there, she's neglected, she may have a hard time creating her sense of identity because deep down inside, she's still trying to prove her worth to her mother. She may also be highly successful, a perfectionist, but deep down inside, she feels unworthy of her accomplishments. On the other end, we have the engulfing mother who doesn't allow her daughter to make any decisions. She is discouraged from forming her own identity apart from her mother. At worst, the mother may infantilize the daughter and treat her like a child where she's not able to learn or make any decisions and take any skills into adulthood, so the daughter stays stuck with the mother because she feels like she cannot function without her mother. For a daughter to grow up and become their own person and emotionally mature, they need to learn how to individuate and separate from their family of origin, from their mother. Because if this doesn't happen, the mother or your mother will continue to run your life. You will get defensive, you will get reactive, you will still act based on unworthiness because you may still be holding on to those beliefs, those lies, those values that your family of origin put on you. And you've internalized a lot of these.
But the mini-me daughter was never the daughter. She was the investment. And if you decide to break away from what your mother expects of you, your mother looks at it as a loss and she no longer sees you as a person. And then that can really add some rocky roads to your relationship. So you end up doing exactly what your mother wants, which leaves you unhappy, but her happy, which means that you are being exploited beyond measures. That's a mother that's not loving you for who you really are, instead loving them for who they think you should be. And once again, it's the fact that daughters are having this immense amount of pressure that is so unneeded and takes away from their girlhood. Now, of course, the helper daughter may not relate to the daughter that is being built to be her mother, but it all ties into the same thing, the immense amount of pressure that these daughters receive. And honestly, these two things can be true in one. Now let's delve a little bit deeper into the comparison of daughters versus sons. I can go on and on and on about this. I mean, I even did a video about toxic boy moms and them being obsessed with their sons while leaving their daughters in the dust. Some daughters didn't just grow up under pressure. They grew up in comparison. Comparison to whom exactly? Their own brothers. And trust me, it wasn't subtle, especially in, I would say, Black and brown communities, because you guys express this quite a bit.
How Asian moms treat their sons versus how they treat their daughters.
Hi, Kong, what are you doing? Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, I'll just leave this here for you, okay?
Đang làm gì vậy?
Mom, I'm doing homework.
No, you texting your friend. Come on, help me clean up. Chảy bảng như đồ.
You'd be doing everything right. Getting good grades, not being sass-mouthed with your parents, cleaning the kitchen, watching after your siblings, being, once again, mature. But for some reason, that still never amounted up to your brother that was very much so mediocre. It's like somehow you were never enough even though you were doing more than enough. Because you watched him, your brother, be treated like royalty for doing absolutely nothing. You cleaned the house? Oh, that's expected. He cleaned the house. Oh my God, he's the best person that ever existed. You got straight A's? Okay, good job. He passes one class, we're gonna have a whole dinner for him and celebrate him. You voice your opinion, you're being disrespectful. Your brother voices his opinion in a disrespectful manner, actually, and he's just having a bad day. Sound familiar? In so many households, sons are treated like investments, while daughters are treated like insurance policies. He gets protected, you get prepared. He gets softness, you get standards. Your mom defends him through everything, even when he was in the wrong, or even if he hurt you. You watched her let him scream at her, disrespect her, lie to her, break curfew, fall apart, treat others wrongly, be disrespectful and bad in school, and she'd still have a plate ready for him at the dinner table after she herself had a very long day at work. Meanwhile, you raised your voice one time at her because your mother was not being respectful to you, and all of a sudden you're the problem, you're the sassy one, and having a daughter is hard work. This is because for daughters, the expectations that our parents put on us aren't just higher, they're heavier. You're expected to shrink yourself when there's confrontation. You're expected to be the example for your brother. Whether he's older or younger, they don't care. You're the one that's supposed to have it together and make sure that he follows your steps. You're expected to be everything that he is not, though his behavior is not being corrected. Because he's a boy, it's acceptable, but because you're a girl, it's unacceptable. And the scariest part about this is that it doesn't always exactly look like abuse. Sometimes it just looks like silence. Like your major accomplishments being ignored, your pain being brushed aside, your feelings not mattering, or your voice being an inconvenience.
I don't know if it's only my mom, but my mom treats me so much different than my brother. And I don't know why. Like, I treat her better. I do treat her better. But she treats my brother better, or I feel like she baby my brother more. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, I don't know. It makes me mad. It makes me very mad. Because why? And I need to know if it's only my mom. Because it's not cool.
You know how y'all be saying moms raise their daughters and love their sons? That ain't nothing but the truth! So I have a big sister, and we have the same mom and the same dad. But if you would think that we grew up in two completely different houses, places, countries, even countries. She was my mom's first kid and only daughter, but so that might have a little bit to do with everything. But she was in high school, 16, working 2 jobs, paid her own bill, and had her own car. While my mom was taking me to soccer practice, picking me up from soccer practice, and I'm still on my mom's phone bill. She still paid that. My big sister has been scheduling her own dentist and doctor's appointments while my wisdom teeth is hurting, and they've been hurting for a while now, but I just haven't been to the dentist because I just don't know how to do it. I don't even know how. After my sister graduated college, she never moved back home. She had her own apartment. I graduated college 2 years ago, and I still live here. So the moms raising their daughters and loving their sons is nothing but the truth. And I'm not ashamed or embarrassed any of that. I'm living my best rent-free life right now. I mean, I'll move out, you know, when it's time. But you feel me though? I'm also not gonna sit up here and act like I'm not my mom's favorite. I'm my mom's favorite. My mom loved me the most out of all her kids. Well, she don't say she loved me the most. She's like, but like, I know she do. I know she do.
And this is when we get to the conversation of the boy mom, and it seems to be passing from generation to generation. Women have this odd love for their sons. It's not all women, but it seems like it's a lot of y'all.
My boy moms feel me on this, but my son has my heart and my soul. I obviously am obsessed with Stevie Lee. She is just the greatest little girl in the world. But my whole life, I always wanted to be a boy mom. And I remember when I found out I was pregnant with him, and I was just ecstatic because I was such a tomboy growing up. Anyways, the whole point of me making this video is I had to share his preschool photo with you, because when I tell you, I opened up this email and I just hysterically cried. He is just everything.
Me for one, as y'all know, I've said this in several videos, I prefer girls, okay? I want to have all daughters, quite frankly. I think I'm only made to be a girl mom. I'm all about girl power. But if I do have a son, please trust and believe I will never be a boy mom, okay? I'm never going to put my son on a different pedestal compared to his sister, or even if he is my only son, I will never put him on a pedestal compared to his future girlfriends or partners. That is what a lot of these women do, and they carry it on. And when their daughters call them out for it, like I said, the very few times daughters feel okay to finally express their feelings, they're often ignored, they're often called disrespectful, and they're often treated even worse. And this often harms the daughter tremendously. A lot of these boy moms disguise this abnormal amount of love that they have for their sons compared to their daughters as a different kind of love that you get from your son. But as I stated, a lot of the times these sons are disrespectful. And then when they go off and get married, they end up abandoning you. Let's really clock it. I mean, research literally shows that daughters are more likely to care for their elderly or sick parents compared to their sons. And why is this exactly? Is it because the daughter was raised to be this helper lady? Or is it because sons that later become fathers and husbands are never taught on how to have any ounce of responsibility?
There's something about a boy mom that's very problematic. It creates a very unfair dynamic within the home. Pick-me moms that are also boy moms, they tend to use authority to kind of subjugate the woman to unfair roles, or subjugate them to, women to very domestic, submissive roles, while simultaneously coddling the sons and enabling the lack thereof. Like the way in which they pour into the daughters to kind of be like this independent or mommy 2.0, or center the sons tend to benefit from that. So boy moms tend to grow up with this very unhealthy relationship with women. And it's really because of how they were raised within the household, especially when it comes to the mother that had very permissive parenting. So if you were in a household with a boy mom, like the ways in which maybe your mom did not allow you to go out and do anything, all she really subjugated you to do was stay in the house and be mommy 2.0, and also simultaneously center the son. So those same sons will take those behaviors out into the streets and feel like the way in which their mother raised them and allowed certain things, and also what they saw their sisters go through. Like they truly believe that is how it's supposed to be. And mind you, we're looking at the women that were under the same household with boy moms. Those women tend to grow up to be hyper independent. They have a lot of trauma from being a parentified child. It's boy moms centering the son so much in a way that makes you question, like, why are you loving this son the way in which you really need to be loving your husband? And also, too, when I think about boy moms, it makes me wonder if they receive adequate love from their husbands. Usually they don't. They tend to love the son in a way in which they never got a chance to love their son's father. So we have this passive neglect of the daughters. Meanwhile, the sons were like coddled and enabled to do these things that were quite inappropriate or unacceptable in traditional dynamics. So those sons also have this very unrealistic view of what relationships should look like between man and woman. And also what I've noticed is the boy moms tend to make the daughters center the son in this very slave-like submissive way that puts the son on this passive pedestal. And it's so strange. All I know is whenever I hear boy mom, I just think it's a pick-me woman. And if she has a daughter, I know for a fact she has traumatized that daughter.
And this type of behavior from mothers is insane to me, because a lot of the times these mothers grew up being the helper daughter, being treated less than, and all the things that their current daughters are going through. So that's why I'm scared to become a boy mom, because I'm like, is it like a shift that goes off that when you have your son, it's like I'm gonna treat my daughter like the scum under my shoe? I just don't get that. But I really think it's more so a character flaw than a parenting thing. Now let's get into my next talking point on the exploitation of daughters. And this has to do with celebrity daughters. If you're watching the video so far, you may think I'm saying that exploitation particularly only happens in the everyday family home. No, we see it all the time in Hollywood. A lot of daughters, especially of celebrities, are very much so exploited from the day that they're born. Let's take, once again, y'all know I always gotta bring the Kardashians up. They are literally the prime example of like a social experiment. But let's take them for one. Oh, I was gonna say particularly Kim Kardashian, but they all do this. Let's talk about Kim Kardashian's daughter, North West. North West is known to be quirky. She's funny. She's a beautiful little girl. And she's much so pushed to the forefront compared to her other siblings. But was this her choice, or was she born to do this because she is the firstborn daughter? North and her little brother Saint are nothing but 2 years apart, but we see North in the spotlight a lot more than her little brother Saint West. And it's almost as if Kim is protecting her younger son, but not protecting her daughter. North West is constantly bullied, made fun of, talked down upon on the internet, but Kim continues to post her and even gave her own TikTok page. But with her son Saint, she gave him a YouTube channel, and then one bad thing happened. I can't pinpoint exactly what happened when she put Saint on YouTube, but she deleted his account right away. North has had several instances that could have made her get her Instagram or TikTok taken away. Well, I think she only has TikTok, excuse me. But Kim keeps at it because being a young girl makes a lot of money compared to young boys. And I think that Kim's second daughter, Chicago West, who already gets praised for her looks at a young age more than North does, she's definitely going to be exploited at that same level as she gets just a little bit older. I mean, she's only 7 years old. I'm sure by the time she's 10 or 11, Kim's going to be pushing her like crazy, especially in terms of her looks. And we see this with a lot of the Kardashian daughters. Kylie Jenner pushes her daughter Stormi Webster to the front way more than she does her son Air Webster. I mean, most people don't even know that Kylie has a son. Khloe Kardashian does this as well when it comes to her daughter True Thompson and even her niece Dream Kardashian. But we don't really hear about the Kardashian boys at all. That's because daughters get exploited. Daughters are the money makers. I mean, Dream West, oh, not Dream West, I'm sorry y'all. Dream Kardashian was already in a commercial with her grandmother. Stormi Webster is already the face of one of her mom's businesses. North West has already performed on stages. They know the little girls are the selling points. This may be a little bit controversial because I know y'all love y'all some Beyonce, and guess what? I like Beyonce too. Beyonce just came from a world tour with her daughter Blue Ivy. She pushed Blue Ivy to the forefront. But the first few performances of Blue Ivy, I would say Blue looked very uncomfortable. It didn't seem as if she had the same natural capabilities as her mother did. And this is not to compare Blue Ivy to her mother Beyonce, because we all know they're two separate people, but it made me question, is Blue Ivy being pushed to the forefront because Beyonce wants her daughter to live in her light? Or is she doing this because she knows that daughters often are more of a selling point? I mean, Blue Ivy was a Grammy winner at just the age of 9 years old, and this could be seen as an achievement, but is this an achievement that Blue Ivy wanted? And Beyonce has 3 kids. She has 2 girls and a boy, but we mostly only see the 2 girls out and about. We never see her son. Now, people have speculated that it's because her son has special needs, but it also leads you to believe, is she just pushing her daughters more to the forefront because, once again, girls are more of a selling point, especially in Hollywood. So it leads you to believe with both of these little girls, is it really their dream to be celebrities and be superstars like their parents are? Or is this just a part of their parents' business plans? And once again, we can bring shows like Toddlers and Tiaras and Dance Moms back into this. Toddlers and Tiaras, is this your daughter's dream, or do you see your daughter as a cute, sellable product? And with Dance Moms, the moms today speak about how much their daughters were exploited, far more than what we saw on cameras. They said there was a lot more happening behind the scenes, yet they chose to keep their daughters on the show. I try my hardest not to judge parents because you only know with what the information you were given at that said point in time, but the fact that the mothers are now coming out with this now that the show is over and their daughters already reached an immense amount of celebrity and power, were they really trying to protect their daughters, or did they see their daughters as cash cows? Obviously, Toddlers and Tiaras didn't get as big as Dance Moms, but still it gave your daughter exposure. But exposure can very quickly turn into exploitation if not handled correctly and safely. Now let's get into my next talking point, and this has to do specifically with the exploitation of brown and black girls. If you are a black or a brown girl, then you already know what I'm about to talk about. As a daughter specifically for immigrant families, they express this a lot. As first-generation daughters or daughters from immigrant families, they weren't treated just as daughters. They were treated as translators, protectors, accountants, image holders, the standard, and the example. They were taught to carry shame that they didn't create. They were taught to represent an entire culture. They were taught to be quiet, grateful, modest, and overall obedient. There is a very much so strong emphasis on the boy mom culture when it comes to black and brown families. And with social media platforms like TikTok, daughters of immigrant and black and brown families are coming out and expressing this quite a bit.
Because when I moved out, I had family members saying, oh, you need to stay home, you need to be there for your siblings, what are they going to do, what's your mom going to do? Or some people are saying, oh, she'll be back, it's not going to last. It lasted. Flips hair, it lasted because I had that resilience and I've always been resilient.
I wish Hispanic mothers would realize that our memories of them are never like, oh, my daughter, she's so pretty, she's so sweet. It's always like them putting us down. Like, oh, why are you wearing that? Why did you... Porque te haces tu maquillaje así, te ves rara, te ves emo, te ves, you know, like, ¿por qué haces esto? ¿Por qué haces esto? Like, you realize that all my memories, my mother is my biggest hater. And I don't want that. Like, I would love a nice relationship. But how can I come down the stairs and want to share something with you as a daughter when every time I do share, every time I experiment or try something new, because I like to experiment with makeup and fashion, whatever, I get put down. You know, I just like want to talk to Hispanic mothers and like hopefully this new generation like just support.
So there was this video circling around of a black man stating that a lot of black men did not go to college due to the cards that they were dealt. And a lot of this discourse stems from the fact that black women are the most educated in the entire United States of America. And according to the National Center for Education Statistics, the number of black women earning bachelor's degrees has increased by 63% over the past 2 decades. So that black man that has been dealt the same exact cards as black women when they were boys and girls, they made it a point to go ahead and get their education. But instead, black men like him are complaining as if they weren't dealt the same exact cards.
We did not go to college because we was too busy trying to figure out how to pay for lunch, because our daddies was in prison, because y'all kept putting shit in the street to make sure they went to prison so that we could not afford lunch, so that we therefore could not afford college. So if you would please shut the fuck up worried about why we didn't go to college. Thank you.
This video that he made is exactly the perfect example of what I've been saying in this entire video. Girls in general are expected to do more than their male counterparts. We get it. There are a lot of stigmas, biases, traumas, and so many different things that are held against us as Black people. But for some reason, Black women are the ones that are going and getting their degrees. Black women are the ones that are trying to break these generational curses and traumas, but then Black men are just sitting back and complaining and not doing anything about it. Now, obviously, this is not all Black men, but the man in this video is just the prime example of a lot of Black boys that are coddled all their lives, and then they become Black men that just like to complain and don't make a difference.
I have 5 siblings, 5 Black brothers, and I am the only one to go and finish college out of all of them. Dad on drugs, in and out of jail. Mom on drugs, got taken away from them, placed in foster care until my aunt and uncle retrieved me. I had to stop playing sports in high school because my aunt tried to force me to watch my little brother. I said, that is not my child. I'm gonna go get a job instead. When it came to college, I filled out my FAFSA. I did have to ask my aunt and uncle a couple questions, but I filled it out. I submitted it. My mom passed away a few weeks before I got to college. I did get Pell Grants because I used the income of my mom and dad of $0, but I also did have to get student loans on top of that. When I got to college, I decided to pick up track and cross country. Never ran it a day in my life, but I figured, hey, why not? Mind you, when you're running track and cross country, you're running throughout the entire school year. You don't get a break. I did not have a scholarship at first, which means that I did not have extra money, which means that I had a job. Not only was I a full-time student, I was also a full-time athlete, and while everybody else was dilly-dallying, I had to go to work. I also did not have a car my entire college era. My people did not pay for me to go to college, and that aunt who had me stop doing sports in high school, she also wanted me to drop out of college to watch my little brother. I don't know if Black men were trying to go to Ivy League schools or D1 schools, and I'm not telling you to go to college or not to go to college, but I will say I went from a JUCO to a D2 school, and the points that y'all are making are just excuses.
I've always said you can very well acknowledge the traumas that have set you back or made things a little bit harder for you in adulthood, but it is your choice to overcome those pedestals. However, if you literally did not have to work for anything all of your life, you will happily become this person because you're expecting someone to help you out through whatever fickle you found yourself in. And like I said, Black girls can say this, brown girls can say this, Latina, whatever y'all want to say. This happens a lot of the times when we talk about the male demographic in these groups.
Mothers are doing their sons a disservice. Michelle Obama said it best. Mothers raise their daughters and love their sons. Is it just me? But it's just like these days it's like men actually don't know how to be men. And this is not just because, oh, there's lack of fathers in the home. I feel like even when there are fathers in the home, mothers have this tendency, whether they're aware or they're not aware, that they baby their sons. And in doing so, you're doing a disservice to them. Now they're not able to think for themselves, do for themselves. They're not able to take the initiative like a man is supposed to be doing. And I feel like this is why women, when they get in relationships with these types of men, it's like you also take on that role of being a mother. It's like you've seen this being done at home, that when you get in relationships, it's almost normal for you to do this for a man. But we must stop.
And just to end this video off, women still deal with this today. The little girl who never just got to be a girl, she sees these patterns in her everyday life. She overfunctions, she over-apologizes, she overthinks, she overextends, she never puts herself first. She feels guilty saying no. She doesn't know how to just relax without feeling like she's not doing enough. She dates people who takes more than they give, because that feeling is far more familiar than we'd like to admit. But I say this to say, as women, though we break all the cycles, okay? We always are showing out. It is okay to break the cycle without breaking yourself. It is okay to say no. It is okay to rest. It is okay to be soft. It is okay to choose you. Boundaries aren't being rebellious, so don't let your parents guilt trip you in their elder years when you decide to put yourself first. The boundaries are setting expectations on how you want and expect to be treated. So I wanted to make this video primarily for the daughters that were silenced, used, overlooked, and not treated how they should have been treated as little girls. I see you, I hear you, I feel for you, and I'm proud of you. And I expect you to choose you. But you guys, that is the end of today's video. What are your thoughts? Have you guys experienced the exploitation of being a daughter? Have you seen it? Me as a second daughter and a part of a family that only has daughters, I have not directly experienced this. I mean, I'm sure my sister probably can say to a certain extent she's experienced this, especially with her having to be the example all the time compared to me because I was the younger sister, but I still feel and see what you guys go through. What are your thoughts on the exploitation of celebrity daughters? What are your exploitation of Black and brown daughters? What are your thoughts on the exploitation of daughters daughters that are expected to become their mothers? Let's get all the discussion going on in the comments down below. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for loving and supporting this channel. It means so much. We are on the road to 300,000 subscribers, y'all, and I have been growing a little bit slower, and I just really want to hit 300K. So please be sure you guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing. Please. I feel like we've been stuck in the 270s forever, and I'm just like, oh my God, I just want to break free the 270s and work my way up to the 300s. And I'm already very much so grateful for the 278,000 of you guys that are supporting me every single day. Check out the Decision podcast and check out the Toni Bryanne TV podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, along with every other audio platform. I love and I appreciate you guys so very much, and I will see you all in my very next video. Love you guys. Bye. Mwah.
Taking you in this moment,